Utaniambia utaniambia letu uko set. Super. Tuko set wote?
Yeah.
Thank you very much, everyone, for finding time to come for this briefing. First of all, I want to apologize that our office is not as spacious and we could not accommodate everyone. Some of us are actually outside, so I want to apologize for that. We were trying to get a hall within the building, but there are many other functions ongoing. So I want to apologize for that, and also the time that you have lost trying to arrange because of space kuwa kidogo. I first of all again want to also thank you everyone for coming. And on the onset, I want to take this very first opportunity to apologize to Kenyans for the disappointment I caused them last week during the finance bill vote on Thursday of last week. It is not the way I do things. Nilikosea hapo. It was not abdicating the duty. I've been trying to do as much as possible when it comes to governance in this country, and also especially anything to do with public finances. So whatever happened, I apologize to Kenyans, and we have learned from it to do better and to be better representatives of the people. And if you allow me, because I have been able to look at the feedback from Kenyans, and I felt it is very critical and important that we address this matter the way it is, bila sugarcoating. Allow me to give just a brief chronology of what happened around the finance bill debate, including the vote, but also in terms of the budget making process. Those processes, we started the debates majorly in the month of June. That is both the appropriations and also the finance bill. And I did my bit in terms of also having written proposals to both committees. That is the budget and appropriations, and also the finance committee. And I am glad and I'm thankful that I was able to appear before both committees to give my proposals. Unfortunately, as you know, not many of them were carried. So what happened in terms of the debate within the House is that I've been there all the days in terms of the appropriations, either tunaita budget, but also in terms of the finance bill, the debate, and also up to the second reading. So when we started the debate, that is last week, of the finance bill, I was there consistently from day one, together with several of my colleagues. And I was present during the second reading, which happened on Wednesday. And as you are all aware, even the people who are here, my brothers and sisters, who cover us in Parliament, as you are all aware, even the previous bills, the votes that has been very consequential is the second reading. And I was actually there up to the debate, and also defending the many who are speaking our language, who are looking also bulldozed in Parliament. And I was able to stand up and also defend them. Now, what happened is that after the conclusion of the second reading on Wednesday, the mover was called upon to reply as it happens. And that is when we actually do the vote of this, after this, the debate of the second reading. And as it happened, the speaker actually then proposed, and we voted by acclamation. Unfortunately, or fortunately, we were not, hatukutosheka watu ambao tulikuwa na maoni tofauti. And we saw it wise that we stood up in what is called division. We were 27 of us in the House that day on Wednesday. And as you know, in terms of parliamentary rules, if you are not 30 and above, then you are not called for division. Division is what gives us an opportunity to vote singularly, a person per person, in terms of a single individual vote. So after we were then 27 and the debate was concluded, it was almost obvious where the direction was headed. But I also want to say that I apologize. We could have waited up to the end, even of the third reading, and therefore no amount of explanation, even the one I'm giving, should absolve me of the blame that I ought to have done better, and I wish that I'll be a better representative of the people of Kenya, and especially also through the lesson learned in this whole process. The second thing is that I want to also thank Kenyans, because I have been very outspoken on many of these finance issues, public finance issues. And maybe the reason Kenyans felt more disappointed with myself, because I was the most outspoken in terms of also giving this information to Kenyans in all platforms, including this office, the many press conferences, and also in most of the forums that I go, I have been speaking about these issues, both the ones that are contained in the budget, but also the ones that are contained in the finance bill. But the reason I was starting that statement is to thank Kenyans, because even whatever we do in parliament and whatever length we go, we are also able to achieve a lot also out here. Because as a member of parliament, as a leader, I should use all the platforms available for us to have the best idea take over in terms of the running of the affairs of our economy in Kenya. And to single just a few, which I'm very proud of, is that, as you remember, in the month of December, there was an imminent increment of school fees for our day secondary schools. The principals had already received circulars, but I was able, together with many other Kenyans, to stand up, and that issue was shelved. And I'm very proud about the bravery and also the courage of Kenyans on that issue. As you also know, I've been on this issue of Safaricom sale. And I want to start by saying that I attended the committee that was handling that issue. I actually gave more than 30 proposals on the sale of Safaricom, because I wanted Kenyans to receive the best value for money for our assets. As you all know, the issue came to Parliament, and because, as you are all aware, without hiding our faces in the sun, about the nature of Parliament as it is, the issue passed. We were actually just a few of us in Parliament debating and giving contrary views on that issue. It passed, and after passing, I am glad that many other Kenyans took up the same points that we have given and went to the judiciary, and the judiciary temporarily halted. But I'm disappointed that even after giving so many glaring areas that we could have corrected, that our judiciary actually gave a through pass yesterday on the same. But we had done our bit, and I also thank the other Kenyans who took the same issues that we were raising in the National Assembly to pursue it in the judiciary. Many issues we've been talking about, I also cite about debt. We've been very outspoken about debt, because one of the single issues that our country faces is the issue of the national debt. And it will come to bite us soon if we do not rectify our trend, and especially of borrowing. And I am glad that other institutions, including the IMF and the World Bank, have taken up our voices, amplified them, and they are telling the government that we cannot continue to borrow, and especially outside the book, what is called off-the-book borrowing. And I'm very glad that even in the recent Washington meetings, called spring meetings in Washington, the Bretton Woods institutions amplified the same voice, and the government was put into order that they have to include every borrowing into one book. The same thing we've been speaking, because if we do it now and we don't correct, it will come to hurt us later in the future. However, I also want to face some issues head on some of the feedback that I've received from Kenyans. And I want to start by saying, as you all know, it has been a very bitter pill for me to swallow for the last 1 week. But most of the bitter pills, many times, they also give us reprieve and they make us learn and become better. And I want to appreciate all Kenyans for all the overwhelming feedback. One of the issues that I saw raised was about previous absence in matters that touches on or matters that are important to our country. And I want to say that, to my recollection, in terms of all the finance bill debates and votes, and I'm not trying to prove anyone wrong, I have been participating in all the debates and votes, including the year 2025, the debate about finance bill. The other issue that has been raised is the issue of impeachment. And I have seen, of course, that being attached to what is currently on the table. And I also want to give my view on that. And I would want to request anyone to tell me whether they have actually ever heard the second deputy president complaining about that impeachment vote. And the reason you don't hear is because, as you all know, and majority of you in front of me have covered other impeachments, including for governors, any vote that requires a two-thirds majority, you do not win it by voting. You win it by denying the two-thirds majority in the House. That is what you have seen all the governors do. If you have 30 MCAs, you make sure 10 do not turn up, and the agenda collapses. And the reason they do that, and has been happening, is that there is still a huge possibility that a person who actually came to save you would be brought along the way, as it happened even in this particular case. So whatever I have done and tried to do it in all good faith, because there is actually nothing to hide about that, but I thought it is important that I address it at this particular time. As I go to the close, and we'll say a few things in Swahili. Yesterday, I got a call from one of my friends. He's called Councillor Johi. And I have received also many concerns from my friend Abdi, my friend Dunstan from Nambale, and many other Kenyans, as I've seen their feedback on the social media. And what Councillor Johi told me is, jana, and I'll put it in Swahili, hiyo mambo umeitana kesho, hata kama unatuambia mambo ya finance bill, hiyo ni sawa, lakini pia tunataka utueleze mambo yako ya kisiasa. And I have seen that feedback, overwhelming feedback from Kenyans. And I want to appreciate that there are many Kenyans who would want to hear our view on that. And on the same call, before I address the main issue, another person, or actually not that one, another person called me. I've been having many conversations with Kenyans. One Kenyan concerned told me, you need to clear some of these things that are being done by, of course, in the political space. Because when you are vulnerable, the way I have been vulnerable for the last 1 week, even the political competitors, of course, they get a field day and they want to maximize on it. So one of them told me, hey, you heard what Junet said? Then I asked him, what did he say? He said something in effect, then I went and checked, maybe you have seen. Then I asked the same person, did you believe Junet? The person told me no. Then I told him that question has been answered, that it is not important for me to respond to such an issue where even Kenyans themselves, they know some of the people raising them, they do not trust them by themselves because of how they have handled other matters before. And therefore, happily, I'll go to the other points without belaboring that one, because it's obvious, and I think you all know that when you are vulnerable, watu watachukua hiyo nafasi pia kukulima kisiasa. And I don't blame them because makosa ni yangu. The things I've been saying, to put it very plainly, especially matters to do with the economy and the running of the economy. There is no way you can do those things when you are supporting the government. It is obvious. Because if you are doing that, then you just give them your views. So I hope now with clarity is that I keep on giving alternative voices even in public and parliament. Because as Kenyans are very quite aware, we no longer support the government of the day and how it runs the affairs of the economy. But of course, people would want more, like some of the calls I've been having. And there is a person I asked this question. Between the issues that we've been handling that are very weighty, for example, the ones that I have cited, I have been thinking it is also important for us to have people who are soberly looking at such issues that are far-reaching to the welfare of our country, Kenya. The second thing is that, and I'm addressing this issue of many people and Kenyans on social media and also calls, WhatsApp conversations, people are telling me, sasa lazima utuambie msimamo wako wa kisiasa. I have stated one categorically, which I'm sure you are all aware even before you came here, that there is no way I can speak the same things I speak about if I am still in government. But I also want to repeat, I cannot also blame anyone who would want me to keep on explaining the same matter, and especially the people in the political space, because they are doing their job as politicians to keep you on toes. Now, the biggest conversation is, which I've had in terms of feedback, then tell us, where are you? And I want to say this with a lot of humility. I was part of the team that campaigned around the country in the year 2022. And most of the times when I try to give alternative views and to criticize, the message that always comes to me loudly is, but you are part of these people. It is you who came to convince us. And out of that learning, probably, it has made me to be more cautious and reflective. I have taken a lot of time to look at the political scenario in the country. And I'm still taking that time because I would request and plead with Kenyans to understand my perspective. That the single most important decision that we are going to make as a country is that decision about how do we want our country to proceed. And how we want our country to proceed is bound up together with who are these individuals who will come together and do this job. And that is what the question I've been have to answer most of the time, maybe inconclusively. The reason I am taking time and have taken time is because for me, this decision is not about my political convenience. It is about what Kenya will become. If I'm to be selfish and inward looking, I live in Kenya. I know what I need to say, and I become a sensation politically immediately. We have been on that path before. If I want to engage in a popularity contest, I know exactly what I need to say even today. But the question I want to ask ourselves as Kenyans, after that, where do we leave Kenyans? And I have been working on something for the last many, many months. Something around that question. Objectively, in terms of the kind of Kenya we would want to have. Because it is the kind of Kenya that we would want to have that then would dictate what kind of team do we need to do this job. So I want to plead with Kenyans so that I am not pushed in the situation of the moment as the storm has been ravaging on me. It is too weighty a decision to make, and especially when there is a storm. Not that I don't know what we need to do and who we need to work with, but in terms of the deliverables to the people of Kenya. And I would request, so that I do not get into the same ditch I have been into, where I speak and I'm reminded that I was part of a certain team back then. I request Kenyans to give me 3 to 4 weeks to share my views, specific views, on that issue of political formations and the things that we need to do in terms of our Republic of Kenya going forward. I know that is underwhelming because everyone would want me to call the press and just say one thing or the other. But I am convinced, because I have experience of having been on the same path before, I am convinced with time that Kenyans that are giving us this patience will vindicate us and will be vindicated. That the kind of decision that we must make must be far-reaching in terms of what our country needs and where we need to go, and then we try to see who are these people who would come together to do that job. And in the intervening period, I'll still continue to do my job. Pahali serikali inakosea, nitaendelea kufanya hiyo mambo ya kuongea in good faith, because some of these issues to me are very important than me appearing in a rally. Appearing in a rally is important, that is fine, but I feel there are things that I need also as a leader to be sure of, to put in place, to agree with Kenyans, so that we also can be able to be very elaborate on that matter. As I come to the conclusion, niseme kidogo kwa Kiswahili baadaye. Kwa bahati ni kwamba viongozi wengi Kenya, hata wale wako katika opposition, and especially those ones are my friends. I talk to almost all of them. Basically, almost all of them. And the majority of them are my friends. But I'm also convinced that the decision that I should take must never be based on friendship to this person or the next. Must be a decision that I can be able to defend for many more years to come. I do not want to be in a situation where a government is formed and in the December of 2027, Kenyans are dissatisfied as we did the previous time. And that is why I still plead. I need time, as I've stated, 3 to 4 weeks. I share my opinions and I share my thoughts with Kenyans, and I know they are reasonable, something I've been working on for a very long time, and I know Kenyans will appreciate that my silence has not been in vain. It has been for Kenyans, not for my political convenience. Nikisema machache kwa Kiswahili, kwa sababu ni vizuri pia tunajikakamua kutumia lugha ya taifa. Na najua pia hapa kuna watu ambao wanajua Kiswahili kuniliko, mtanikosoa na mniruhusu nichanganye kidogo kwa Kiingereza kiasi. Nataka nitumie fursa hii ya kwanza kutoa msamaha kwa Wakenya kwa disappointment ambayo nilisababisha wakati tulikuwa tunapiga kura ya finance bill pale bungeni last week. Ni vizuri niseme vizuri na gaubaga ya kwamba haikuwa nia yangu ya kukwepa wajibu wangu kama mbunge wa Kiharu na mbunge wa National Assembly. Na vile nimeeleza hapo awali, nimekuwa bungeni katika hizo jambo zote tulifanya za mswada wa fedha, na katika mchakato wote nimekuwa pale bungeni mpaka ile tunaita second reading. Na hapo second reading tukapiga kura na tukaitisha ile inaitwa mgawanyo ama division. Kwa bahati mbaya tukakuwa watu 27 wa bunge pale ambao walikuwa na maoni tofauti na yale ya serikali. Na vile mnajua ni kwamba kuita mgawanyo inahitaji kura 30. Na kwa hivyo tukapiga kura na ile inaitwa acclamation na ikaenda vile ilienda. Hiyo jioni nilikuwa nasafiri na nikasafiri na nilirudi actually the day before yesterday jioni, na pia ilikuwa ya kiumuhimu, lakini si vizuri niendelee na kuexplain makosa ambayo ishafanyika. Ni vizuri kwanza niegemee hapo kwa msamaha zaidi, na niseme nimepokea ujumbe an overwhelming feedback from the Kenyan people, na katika maoni ya Wakenya nimeona mambo kadhaa, na nitaongea tu machache kwa sababu ni vizuri ni clarify. Nikapata moja, Wakenya wananiuliza, wakati kumekuwa na kura kama hizi, kuna wakati mwingine umekuwa hauko bungeni. Kuongea ukweli ni kwamba katika mswada wote wa fedha ambayo imekuwa hapo awali, hata nikiweka ile ya last year ya 2025, mimi nimekuwa bungeni na nikapeana maonio yangu na nikapiga kura pale bungeni, including 2025. Ya pili, nikaulizwa na Wakenya katika mtandao na pia katika simu, nikaulizwa na ile kura ya impeachment, nayo tunakumbuka pia. Na mkiangalia mtaona ya kwamba naibu wa rais Mheshimiwa Rigathi Gachagua hamujasikia pahali popote akilalamika. Ni kwa sababu hata yeye kama mwanasiasa mkongwe anajua kura ambayo iko kama hii inahitaji ile tunaita 2/3 majority. Hii kura hata ukiangalia zile zimeanguka katika Kenya, hata kwa counties, hazianguki kwa zile kura zimepigwa, inaanguka kwa wale wabunge hawajahudhuria. When you deny parliament the 2/3 majority, hapo ndio unatamatisha mswada kama huo. Na tumeona in the counties that have participated in those kind of situations. Ni vizuri pia niseme ya mwisho vile nilisema hapo na kimombo. Jana niliongea kwa simu na rafiki wangu mmoja anaitwa Councillor Josh, wakati aliona naita press conference, na akanieleza, wewe ujue ya kwamba hata ukitupea mambo ya finance bill, ile tunataka sana ni utuambie pia maneno ya siasa. Na pia nimepokea ujumbe kama huo kwa marafiki wengi, kama rafiki wangu Abdi wa Wajia, kuna rafiki yangu Dansan wa kule na Bale Busia, kuna marafiki wengi hata Ajiki wa kule Siaya. Na pia nimepokea ujumbe kama huo kutoka kwa Wakenya wengi, ya kwamba hata ukiita hii press conference, wewe ujue ya kwamba hata tukikulima, tunakulima finance bill, lakini pia lazima utoe maneno yako ya siasa. And I also want to be very, nataka nikuje na humility kwa Wakenya. Niwaeleze mimi nimeangalia siasa yetu yote ya Kenya, na nimechukua muda, na wengi ni kama wanataka lazima tuharakishe. Nikianzia hapo, mnajua ya kwamba mimi nilikuwa mmoja wa wale walitafuta kura ya hii serikali ambayo iko. Na kila wakati natoa maoni tofauti, Wakenya wananikumbusha, wewe ulikuwa pati ya hawa watu. Kwa hivyo hata ukiongea wewe bado uko na msamaha ya kuomba. Na mimi nakubali. Na ndio maana naona ni vizuri nikichukua hatua kama hii, lazima ikuwe hatua nimeiangalia kwa njia zote. Na vile mnajua nimekuwa mstari wa mbele kuongea mambo ambayo inadhuru wa Kenya. Hauwezi fanya jambo kama hizo. Haujasikia mtu mwingine anaongea mambo ya school fees inaongezwa, watu wanachukua mafuta ya Turukana, mambo ya deni. Hauwezi ongea mambo kama hayo ukiwa ndani ya serikali. Na hiyo lazima, it is obvious. Lakini kila wakati unajua kwa siasa pia ni mashindano. Kuna hawa watu wanataka pia kila siku na zidi ukiexplain. Na hiyo ni haki yao kama wanasiasa, kwa sababu siasa pia ni mabishano na mashindano. Lakini mimi nauliza Wakenya, tafadhali, hii ndio hatua kubwa zaidi kama mwanasiasa nitachukua, kujua yes, hata kama hauko huko, tunaendelea aje huko mbele. Na sio tini jambo sijakuwa nikifikiria. Nimekuwa nikifikiria, na kuna mambo nimekuwa ninafanya kwa miezi ambayo imepita. Na ndio naomba wa Kenya tafadhali, mimi nitawapea maoni yangu na fikira zangu in the next 3 to 4 weeks, nikikamilisha ile kazi nimekuwa nikifanya inaegemea na hiyo mambo ya decide ni timu gani watu wataendelea nayo mbele kisiasa, kwa sababu ni kazi huwezi fanya peke yako. Na najua hata nikiitana hii mkutano ya leo, pengine kuna Wakenya walitarajia nitakuja niwaambie ni huyu na huyu na yule, na ni haki yao, kwa sababu nyinyi Wakenya ndio wadosi wangu. Lakini kwa sababu ni pahali nimepitia mimi mwenyewe, ya kwamba miaka hata haijapita 4 nilikuwa pale, tafadhali mimi naomba subra. The next 3 to 4 weeks mimi nitoe maoni yangu. Nikishatoa maoni yangu, tuamue sisi wote kama Wakenya mwelekeo ni mgani, na mwelekeo ile na maanisha teams ni gani, watu ni wagani, mtashikana mkono na nani na nani na yule mwingine. So kwangu ningetaka nikuwe na umaarufu zaidi wa kisiasa. Mimi najua kile naweza sema saa hii, na umaarufu itaenda juu. Lakini Wakenya wadosi wangu, hiyo ni njia nimepitia hapo awali. Na vile nimesema, hii decision ndio decision ambayo ni mzito zaidi kwangu. Na mimi sijui kufanya mambo katika nusu. Mnajua hata mkiangalia katika last campaigns, mimi nikiamua ni njia hii, naingia na miguu na mikono na kichwa na kila kitu. Kwa sababu when I am convinced about something, napenda kuifanya na roho moja. Na kwa hivyo mkiona nachukua muda, si kana kwamba kuna any other consideration or fear. Ni vile naona hii ni decision ambayo nafaa kuface wa Kenya nikiwa very very sober. Nimeiangalia kwa njia zote, nieleze wa Kenya njia zile zote nimeiangalia. Tukiwa wa Kenya sasa tuamue. Mimi kama Ndindi Nyoro, wa Kenya wakiwa wadosi wangu, nikiwapea maoni yangu ile mimi najua nitatamatisha kuiweka vizuri kwa wiki 3 ama 4 zinazokuja. Najua hakutakuwa na taswishi hata tukiamua njia tunaenda. And very lastly, there are people, because I have been reading, and as you are aware, it has been very tough for me. Reading the kind of things I've been reading, it requires ujihurumie pia wewe. Na nikisoma hizo jambo zote, pia nikaona kuna watu maybe wanafikiria, especially hii wakati wa finance bill, pengine ni kuogopa kitu yeyote. Na mimi nauliza, especially nyinyi mko hapa marafiki wangu, nimewaita katika hii ofisi nikaongea mambo mazito yenye haujasikia kwa mtu mwingine yeyote. You cannot take the government head on when it is increasing school fees if you fear anyone. You cannot speak about the issues of people taking Turkana oil as their personal belonging when you fear anyone. You cannot talk about illegal debts singularly as a single person when you fear anyone. So when I try to balance those things, I try to balance them just for the benefit of our country. And as I stated before, I know what political convenience would call for me to do. Nasema tu jambo sahi, umaarufu ya kisiasa inakuwa. Lakini Wakenya nitawaacha wapi? Wakenya tutawaacha wapi? And that is why I'm taking time. And I am sure and convinced, nikitoa maoni yangu kwa Wakenya, ile nimekuwa nikiweka pamoja, I am convinced Kenyans will for sure know that I've not been silent out of inactivity. It is silence out of deep activity. Otherwise, nashukuru sana. Mwenyezi Mungu awabariki Wakenya wote. Yes.
My name is Alan Achanda from Kenyans. Now, too much is given, much is expected. So remember that you are more than 150 stayed away from that particular day in Parliament. But
yes.
You were singled out. It means maybe they trust Kenyans bestowed on you.
Yes.
And most of them were saying that maybe you are a more.
Yes.
That's why you stay away during a crucial times.
Yes.
Could you maybe just clarify and precisely, maybe just tell them that I'm not a mole.
Yeah, okay.
I act independently.
Thank you very much, my brother, for that's a very good question, because nimeipata pia kwa watu wengi na ameuliza a very direct question. To paraphrase it, could you be a double agent? Ile pengine unafanya kazi na wale na unafanya kazi na wale. Kwa bahati mzuri ni kwamba kama wewe unafanya kazi KTN, the people can only accuse you for working for NTV within KTN if you work for KTN. Now me, I've been handling my issues alone. Even if I talk to so many other friends, you have seen me alone. So there is no way I can be working for these other ones, maybe to do harm to these other ones, and I'm not anywhere. And precisely the reason I'm saying that mimi nitapeana maoni kwa Wakenya is because, as you all know, I've been handling my issues alone, singularly. And ile swali umeuliza, ati could you be working na wale watu wengine kwenye nimeeleza tulichoka? Let me ask you a very simple question, because inaweza kuwa ni sisi hatuelewi siasa vizuri. So mtaenda mkae chini na mtu akwambie, wewe enda useme nimeiba mafuta ya Turukana, lakini wewe ni mtu yangu. Wewe enda useme tunakopa pesa illegally. Wewe enda useme tunataka kuongeza school fees. Enda useme tunataka kuuza Safaricom kwa bei duni na tunaiba pesa pia hapo. I do not practically know how that would work. And the people I've dealt with, and the people of Kiharu know, because maybe I've related more closely to the people of Kiharu, having been member of parliament for Kiharu, more. They know, I mean, what you see is what you see. You've covered me many times. Whatever written here, there is nothing hidden behind it. What I am saying, for example, today, and I know Kenyans will appreciate, when I come maybe 3 to 4 weeks, na nipeane maoni yangu, na nipeane ile kitu nimekuwa nikifanya, Wakenya wataona ya kwamba nimekuwa nikiwafanyia haki. So I think that there is clarity, that it is clear, I mean it's obvious, that I left government. It's obvious. But I keep answering this question, not more because Kenyans ask me, but because politicians provoke me to keep on defending it. So I don't know whether there is anything to add on that. Yeah.
Yes. One question here.
Yes.
David Mudoka from NTV.
Yes, David.
Speaking of leaving government,
Yeah.
one would want to know the reasons and maybe why or when. There have been accusations that you have a grudge with the president, perhaps he never picked you as Gachagwa's replacement.
Okay.
You also have a grudge maybe because you were kicked out of the budget committee as the chairperson of the budget committee.
Okay.
You can address that. Na mwisho tu kabisa, you've spoken of finance bill 2025. Kuna maswali kuhusu ni wapi ulipigia kura finance bill 2025.
Vile unajua ni kwamba Muthoka, wacha nianze na hiyo ya 2025. Vile unajua finance bill ya 2025 tulikuwa pale bungeni tuka debate, ilifanyika na acclamation. Ukitafuta records za bunge zitakuonyesha hivyo. I was there. You have Hansard in parliament, you can check. I mean, there is nothing to run away from. I face these issues head on. Hata hii ya juzi ni mambo tu ambayo singeepuka. And it was nothing about any fear, any plan. There was nothing absolutely about that. Otherwise, why would I have spoken the same things I was speaking? Then you ask me, what happened that then you are no longer in government? The whole issue, as you are all aware, started during the impeachment. It was not an event. It was a process. I did not participate. And I actually I went to the people who are promoting it. Let me put it to perspective so that, because Wakenya wako na haki ya kuelewa pia. So impeachment ikafika. Kwa hiyo wakati we were in the same team. We were one cohesive team. Kulikuwa tu na mikwaruzano, but generally we were one team. So the issue of impeachment came, and it ran very fast. Ikaenda kwa kasi. Na mimi nikaangalia hilo jambo kama binadamu, nikaliangalia kama Mkristo, nikaliangalia kama mtu, even before being a politician. Na mimi nikaona sitashiriki. And I went to the people who are promoting it. And I told them, my conscience is not here. Na mimi sitashiriki katika hii impeachment. Na nikawaambia that whatever cost that I need to pay, I will not blame anyone. And maybe that is the reason why, even when I was kicked out of the budget chairmanship, I called you guys in my office. You all expected me to go berserk. But I didn't blame anyone because it was primarily out of the decision I took then. So imekuwa hivyo. It was not an event that then it reached a time tukasema nyinyi edeni na nyinyi mubaki. It is gradual gravitation up to where we are. Just like it happened to all the people that we were in the same team. Yes.
My name is Paul Kroto from TV47.
Yeah.
Now that you've stated that you're giving Kenyans to
Yes.
and some people are asking, are you a fence sitter? You're now waiting. Which side are you going to support?
That's a fair question. I've also had it. Ati unakaa ukipima upande gani? Sasa unapima upande gani na nimesema upande siko. So you know, when you are walking a tightrope, you can either fall, this side is bad, this side is bad. So I've already clarified, even through my actions, not even now, even previously. There are two divides in Kenya. There is the government, there is the other side of opposition. So this is bad, this is you can either fall, this side is bad, this side is bad. So I've already clarified, even through my actions, not even now, even previously. There are two divides in Kenya. There is the government, there is the other side of opposition. I've clarified the side I am not, and you know for sure I am not in government. I don't think even that is news to anyone. However, I have participated in a very deep manner in creating a government. And I still pay for that. Even now, when I post even things, najua kuna vitu naongea za Wakenya mpaka mata inaisha. Then I seem afraid of person reminding me there. Wewe si ni wewe mlikuja rale hapa kwetu. Then nikiongea ingine, wewe si ulikuwa chairman. So because it's a destination I've been into, I know for sure one thing. Winning an election is one thing. Governing a country that benefits everyone is another. And I have decided to take all the adjectives at this particular time. Lakini nikieleza wa Kenya kile kitu nimekuwa nikikifanya, najua wataona I try my best to be patriotic. Yes.
I'm Chitera from Citizen TV.
Yes.
Now this is a coincidence. We've announced 3 to 4 weeks. The second deputy president requested for 45 days. It has lapsed. 5 days are over. I think 4 days, 40 days remaining. So are you coming up with the same announcement?
No, that's far-fetched. I mean, I'm communicating about myself, and I didn't consult any other leader when I'm doing this, because I think I've been carrying this weight of the issues generally alone. And there is something my brother asked here, that 180 people never turned up in parliament. Lakini kwa bahati nzuri ama baya nimewabebea mzigo. Na hiyo inanionyesha ya kwamba lazima nikuwe mtu very careful in far-reaching decision making. Ya kwamba watu wanategemea nisiongee tu kwa niaba ya kuongea. Niongee nikijua matamshi na yatoa. I do not need to remember them because they'll be straightforward even saying them in the future. And the more the reason I've been taking time, very far-reaching things that I've been doing and crafting. And I know, as I keep repeating, I've repeated more than 10 times, when I come and address Kenyans and show them what I've been doing, what I've been thinking, the things that I've been into, I am convinced people will appreciate ya kwamba siwezi wachilia kwenye Wakenya wako. Yes.
This time you're going to take, you said 4 weeks or 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Are you going to get a consultation from the opposition, United Opposition, or Linda Mwananchi team? Which team are you going to consult?
Let me put it very plainly, because mimi sitaki kudisappoint wa Kenya. I think the first step must be, as a leader, I have an obligation to give. Kwa nini wewe umechukua hii muda yote? Nini, kwa nini? Tueleze. It could benefit somebody in their decision making. Nikieleza hayo mambo, I am so sure it will be straightforward for Kenyans. Tujadiliane tuone out of what is available. Kwa sababu hii mambo lazima ikuwe teamwork. Tuyafanye kivipi. So I know, let's not preempt anyway. Yes, Gojiri. Yeah.
You spoke about your differences with the government.
Yeah.
Having originated around the impeachment
Yes.
period.
Yes. I'm just thinking. You know, hii siasa imefika, pengine mtu anajua umekuja hii upande ukiita yule hivi. All of us, because we ended up working in a team. Kuna team member ambayo ni striker, mwingine ni defender. I know my tough. My tough in terms of, kama ni jaze na pewa ya kisiasa, kuna vitu zitafanywa na rafiki yangu, yenye hata nikijaribu kufanya mtaona I am off. That is not me. So, maybe it's because people would expect me to be in very high octane politics now, but humbly, I think there is still something I need to complete to do. Not personal thing, related to this, purely about Kenyans. Yes?
There was a question before that.
Yeah, yeah.
If the issues
Oh, about government. You see, Gojiri, what happens is this. When you are in a team, you work for currently Media Max. You go for editorial meetings. And you say, oh, carry this story. The editor says, no, we carry this one. You give your views there, inside that room. So you can't come out here and say, you know, I work for Kameme, and I went to the meeting, they declined to take my views. Back then, when we were one team in government, back then, we could give our views internally, including of the toxic finance bill of the unfortunate finance bill of the 2024. We could give our views internally. Now, on this side, I was chairman of budget. We could meet, I give my views even about finance bill. How decent would it appear then to then come out and purport to be better than everyone and give the same different views that I gave inside, outside? Right now, I am nowhere, so to say. Because, as I've told you, you know for sure I left government. But on the other side, I've not crystallized. How do we move forward as a country? To be very honest. And that is why I've been taking time and working on what I've talked about. So, I am just hoping I have answered you.
So, if, for example, the impeachment did come about.
Yes.
And assuming that there were issues that you raised and possibly they were not addressed in the manner that you would have wished.
Yes.
Would you have foreseen yourself in a situation where you would have opted out of the government?
Possibly. I can't rule that out. But also, I don't know whether some of those views would have been taken. So I don't know. It's not something I am able to predict. Yeah. Yes.
You know, it's only I and you who have many followers online.
Yes.
So many questions are online.
Yes. Uriza.
And I know you are not doing the politics.
Yes.
In terms of finance bill, you did not vote.
Yes.
People are asking, were you paid? Because one of the tactics where the government
Yes.
uses,
Yes.
whereby it pays for trip for some MPs
Yeah.
who will not vote. And you know that trick, eh?
I know it.
So
Let me
clear-
answer you that.
clear-
Let me clarify this very singularly. Ever since I became member of parliament in 2022, my second term, I have never traveled out of the country paid for by parliament, not even one trip. So whatever I do, even when I go to look for things that would assist the people, I do it from my pocket. And I'll challenge you, go to the clerk of the National Assembly. Possibly I'm the only MP who have never traveled outside the country on the bill of parliament since 2022. So the question you asked is, could you maybe have been compromised? How would you compromise somebody who actually brought out all the bad things about the bill? How would that work? That I come and expose all the bad things? I think that is when you actually need to be, for that to happen. I mean, what you've asked. So for clarity, also, it's only that many times I've not been appearing on shows to answer some of these questions. I would challenge all of you, even when you get our party leader then, even from the time he was deputy president, whether he has ever given Ndindi Nyoro assent and he picked. So, I mean, we don't keep on talking about these things because it will seem like yourself trying to make yourself better than everyone. But the point of the matter is, there are things that cannot make me sleep at night. And especially if I betray people by personally benefiting from that. Yes. Yes, Leto. Na wewe Leto, chairman, ulituangusha kuna wakati mwingine wa men's conference. Ulituangusha sana. Vile wewe kwanza unafaa ukuje hapa kwanza ueleze watu.
Maybe then I should ask for in the next 3 to 4 weeks that you say.
Yes.
Do you have a political party or are you using the 3 weeks to shop for a political party?
No. I mean, you've asked a question. Am I, in those 3 weeks, am I coming up with my vehicle, blah, blah, blah? No. No, I think I have answered that so conclusively. Yeah. Anyone will any other question? Ask. Even the ones that are online, you can read because I cannot see them where I am. Yes, bro.
My name is Omala.
Yeah.
From West TV. I just want to go back on you being kicked out of the budget committee. You had your colleagues imagined, and you used to use that seat to allocate yourself more resources than any other part.
Okay.
Do you regret maybe losing that seat?
Let me tell you, I don't think I'm the right person to mark my exam. But I think I'm being also more helpful to Kenyans when I'm out here than when I was then back in there. Because the things I've been raising are as important as the ones that I was doing back then. So I am happy where I am. I am happy where I am, doing what I am doing. And I am very proud about the things we are achieving, the lessons we are learning. So whatever happened. Where we are, we must do the job. Yes. You can take the last 2 more. Yeah. Then you can speak Akina. Yes, Jenga asked. But I'll also say something in Kikuyu later. Yes, I will do that. Nitafanya hiyo. Na hata tutaongea tu tukiwa wote juu nitachukua dakika 3. Yeah, najua you can't run away from your mother tongue. So, if you allow me, I say a few things in the mother tongue, then tumalize. Unajua nilikuwa nimeweka hii Swahili, saa hii nyingine ni gumu ndio nilikuwa. Lugha ya mama sitanidi kuangalia kitu. Wa mbere njuge ni ndakena muno ni kanya kaumwahe ga gukatwaraniria maundu matiganite. Na twambĩrĩirie na debate ile rarĩ kuo ya finance bill. Na nĩ mbere biũ nĩ ngwenda kũhoya mũhera kũrĩ andũ othe a Kenya nĩ tondũ kũrĩ ũrĩa merĩgĩrĩire ingĩka no ndiekire tondũ ndiarĩ kuo mũthenya ũcio wa gũikia kura, ndarĩ nja wa bũrũri. Na harĩ ũhoro-inĩ ũcio wothe wa finance bill ndarĩ thĩinĩ wa ũhoro ũcio ngĩheana mawoni tofauti marĩa mangĩteithia andũ a Kenya o kuma rĩrĩa maũndũ macio mokire mbunge o nginya kũrĩkĩrĩria ũhoro-inĩ wa gũthondeka budget na ũhoro wa gũthondeka finance bill nĩ ũhoro ngoretwo ndĩ thĩinĩ waguo na ngaheana mawoni na ngahia Kenya maundu maingi mari thiini na uhoro ucio ni ndirakena gukorwo ndiyurutite. No uria gwathire ni ati Wednesday ni twathire bunge tukiaririria ndeto iyo na tugiikia kura itago ya second reading na tuikia kura itagwo acclamation. Bunge uguo muigwa tukirwo may as many say aye, may as many say nay. Na riria twaikirie kura iyo ya kwanirira igikorwo speaker akiuga niyo yacinda, no aria tugaga aca tugiukira to niguo bunge yendekanaga, mwokira mwataru mwakinya andu 30 mukaheo kanya ga guikia kura o mundu yake. Na riria twokirire tugikora turi andu 27, in fact hau mbere twariganitie na Gaceri wa Kirinyaga na mundu ugwitwo Mukunji na angi mwena uria Kibagendi na aria angi. Na riu yagikinya hau muthenya ucio hwaini no ndagithiaga nja wa bururi, no ni ndakionete rugendo ruria biru yo yagererio. No ni kwenda njugi atiriri ati ona thiini wa bunge na nja wa bunge ni tugeretie muno gukorwo tukiruta maundu maria mangiteithia andu a Kenya, na ni ngukena ati ona nja wa bunge maundu macio no mahotekekaga. Ni tondu ta December ni kwari na uhoro wa kuongererwo fithi thiini wa thukuru citu cia day, na riria uhoro ucio wokire ndi umwe waria mabinganire na uhoro ucio na thirikari igitigira kuongerera fithi. Magioka na uhoro wa kwendia Safaricom na ngitindikana nao, na uhoro ucio woka bunge ukihetuka, no kuhitukira ndumiriri iria ndarutaga igoti rikiamba kurugamia ona gukorwo ni riracokire gwitikiria. Uhoro wa mathire ma bururi ni ngoretwo ngiaria, uhoro wa andu aria maraia maguta maitu maturukana, maundu macio mothe ndimaragia tondu ni maguteithia bururi witu. Ni ngwenda anse maundu meri maria nyonete andu makinjuria ng'enda-ini. Ya mbere makanjuria, he mundu turaririe nake ira, murata wakwa wa kuria Nyandarua witagwo Councillor Johi. Aranjuria we munene, ona ugituheaga cia finance bill no nginya utwire uhoro wa siasa urugameire ku. No uhoro ucio njugi atiriri andu aitu,